All right, lads and lasses, and good day, mates. Welcome to another episode of the Tune Under podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's only and therefore best and also favourite Newcastle United dedicated podcast. All we do is talk about Newcastle United, but on days like this, I kind of wish we could talk about something else. So we are coming at you live, coming at you like Cleopatra from the lucky country down under in Australia. And yeah, today we are going to be talking through the shit show that was Spurs 5, Newcastle 1, down at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. And for us here in Brisbane, that was a 1:30 a.m. kickoff this morning. So again, it's one of those ones where it's to be the whole day for us to mull over, kind of cry to ourselves quietly. Get depressed. We've come together today to cry collectively over this absolutely god-awful performance. So joining me today to go through this is Marky Mark in Brisbane with a lovely, lovely beard. It's April.
Yeah, it's getting a bit shaggy now, isn't it?
I tell you what, you're getting in early for Christmas, aren't you?
Yeah, it's getting a bit grey as well.
It's been a while since I last seen you. How are you going, Mark?
I'm doing okay. Been a long few weeks, just recovering from surgery, but we'll keep the details to ourselves.
Well, you know, anyone who just watched that will probably be feeling the same. So this was Newcastle's fourth away game in a row, first since the international break, and didn't go very well. We're going to get into the review of this game in just a few moments. I'm kind of hoping that Dimi joins us, but he's a little bit late. But let's have a short break and we'll get started on this absolutely god-awful result. So, first off, before I do that, let's have a look at the teams. So I'll just read these out for anybody who ends up listening to this rather than watching. So for Spurs as the home team, it was Luis in goal, then it was Royal, Romero, Dyer, and Davies, then Doherty, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Kvalitski, Son, and Kane, of course. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that one. Kulieski, is it? Yeah, probably. I don't know. And for Newcastle, it was Martin Dubravka, then it was Manquillo, Schar, Burn and Target in defence, then Shelby with the captain's armband, Willock and Joe Linton in the middle, then Fraser, ASM starting for the first time in a while, and Chris Wood. So just on those teams' first mark, Spurs, pretty strong team. I think they only made one change in bringing in Royal. The commentators at the start of the game were suggesting that might be to keep ASM under control. Worked pretty well if that was the case. What did you make of that team when you saw it?
A pretty strong team. Realistically, if you look at, I think it was like looking on Optus about the team lineups, and they were suggesting it was like a back three, a midfield four plus two attacking midfielders, and then Kane up front on his own. But I mean, when you actually watch the game, Kane dropped back deep and was playing balls around for fun. So it was a pretty fluid kind of formation, I think, for them, but definitely packed their midfield, and I don't think we ever got to grips with that, but we'll cover that later.
Yes, well, he was really deep at times, wasn't he, Kane? I forgot kind of how good a crosser he is at the ball. Like, you think of him just as a striker, but he's got a hell of a crossing, hasn't he?
Yeah, the ball for Son that he was in acres of space for, that should have been the fourth before the fourth went in, I think it was. That was a beautiful ball. So
yeah, it was excellent. We'll get on to that in a bit. Newcastle's team, we made three changes to this one. So it was Manquillo at the back, Shelby in the middle, and then ASM on the wing. I suppose right now you could argue that is about as strong as we can get. You could potentially bring in Bruno instead of Willock, I think, and maybe be a bit stronger. But I mean, when I saw that line up there, I thought, you know what, champion, that's not a bad team. We've got Manquillo at the back. I've pissed and whinged about Kraft for God knows how long, so I was quite happy not to see him start, and now I kind of wish that he did. You got two kind of on-form defenders, although Dan Bird's been shaky a little bit lately. and your midfield looks all right there, Joe Linton, of course, and then you got your two wingers who are doing all right at times, and your so-called striker in the middle. So what do you think when you saw that? I actually was quite encouraged by that. What did you think?
It's pretty much like our strongest side at the moment, apart from Bruno. I mean, if we can get Wilson back, then obviously he comes in for Chris Wood like straight away. You'd like to think that Trippier comes in at right back straight away as well, but obviously there's doubts over him. But realistically, the way that team has been playing, you would have thought that was a pretty strong lineup. I didn't see anything that I was amiss about. Certainly nothing that I was really upset. Yes, okay, Bruno would like to see him start more, but he's just flown back from South America, played in 2 games, so long flight back. It's not surprising he was on the bench, but I think going forward, we'd like to see him start more, even if he does have a late flight back.
Yeah, well, you never know. I mean, I think after the performance of the midfield in this game, he might well start the next one, I think. It'll be interesting to see who gets dropped for that one. All right, so that was the teams. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, imaginatively named Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. So yeah, into the first half then, and not a new story really, but for the first 20 minutes, give or take, it's basically all Spurs, isn't it? And we are struggling just to get our foot on the ball. I mean, in the first 5 minutes, Dyer's had a header flashed over the bar from a Son corner, who, by the way, Son was just fantastic this whole game. He does not like playing against us. Kane flashes a wide on the 15th minute. Dyer again wide on a free kick on the 17th. And yeah, so it's around about the 19th minute, 20th minute when we finally actually get a little bit of possession with the ball and try and slow things down, as you do as the away team. And 22 minutes, we get our first shot away from Willock. It was on target, but was easily blocked, unfortunately. And it's back and forth a little bit. Few chances here and there, but really up to the point of us scoring the first goal, I think you'd have to say that it was largely Spurs' game. But Newcastle do take the lead on the 38th minute. Son gives away a cheap free kick, sort of on the edge of the box on Willock. Willock, I think, was pretty much expecting it to come. He looked very much like he was waiting for it. His foot was in the air, and I think he paused a little bit rather than bring his foot down. And he feels the contact from Son, who did hit him, in fairness, and he goes down, of course, and we get a free kick. Oh, here's Dimi. How you going, Dimi? Time to call this. Fucking part-timer.
Daylight savings. Daylight savings
so confusing.
It's killed me. I'm thinking, 8 o'clock Queensland time, not realizing now that we're both on the same time zone in the world.
No, have your clocks changed, have they?
Yeah, we changed on Sunday.
Right.
Yeah,
I didn't even know
that's why there's confusion. But yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, well, just into the first goal. I'm just about to say that it was Schar who steps up to take it, which is quite unusual. I thought you don't really kind of picture Schar as a free kick taker. He's more on the end of these things and nutting them in. But anyway, Schar steps up, belts a great goal right through the wall into the bottom right of Luis's, right of us, left of Luis. And I think what really helped make this goal was that you had Burn and Wood sort of sitting right behind the wall. And they were sort of alongside each other. And obviously they're in the way of Luis. I think Luis is kind of already expecting which way the ball's going to go. But when Schar comes up to kick it, them two just sort of split like the Red Sea, leave a massive open space. Schar does well to get the ball right through that gap. And it goes in the bottom corner via a little touch from Luis. And I think if Luis hadn't have made a little move to the side that he does a kind of little move to the side. And I think that just unsettles him enough to be able to not reach the ball properly and save it. And so it goes in. Schar just celebrates like a madman, runs all the way down to the away fans. I think Joe started something with his celebration the other game, where he just legs it all the way to the away fans on the complete opposite side of the pitch. Serena will be doing a nutting if she wasn't sitting there. Serena, the official photographer, she was saying in one of our podcasts. Everyone's all happy. All the fans are going mental. And really, I think from the first 20 minutes, you said that was definitely against the run of play. I think you could maybe make an argument that after that point and up until the goal, it was a bit more 50-50-ish, I suppose. But Mark, that goal was was all right. One of that free kick from a man who, like, at least I don't really think as someone who was going to step up and take a free kick, but he did a cracking shot there, didn't he?
Well, we know he's got decent skills on the ball, apart from the pass for one of Spurs' goals.
Yeah, we'll get to
that. But we'll get to that. The big thing for me, as you said, like Lloris took a tiny little move to the right before he went for the ball, and that clearly made all the difference. I still fully expected that we were going to get flagged for an offside on Dan Burn because he was kind of getting in the way, so to speak. So yeah, like pleased to see that didn't get reviewed. Wouldn't be surprising to any of us at the moment with the conspiracy nuts around that. That we would see something like that where it was flagged off, but yeah, luckily that went in. Great start. Couldn't wish for anything more, especially after the first few minutes, as you said, where we were just completely out of it.
Oh yeah, we were gash. Dimi, I don't know if you saw that goal actually, but there was the VAR spent bloody ages looking at it again. Like every time we get anywhere near the goal, it's like, wait a minute, 5 minutes worth of checking every single little aspect of every blade of grass. You know, there was a discussion about, I think maybe it might have hit, was it Wood's arm as the ball was going through? Was it just a thing about that? Yeah. How did you see that? And in your general thoughts on that goal?
Oh, it was a clear goal. I mean, it had shades of Tiote's shot against Man City where Joe Hart, I think it was crying to the fourth official or the linesman saying, "Oh, I couldn't see it," when the ball smashed into the top corner with the spider webs, and he's saying, "Oh yeah, I would have saved it." So it's sort of a tale of the tape. Anytime we score a goal against these top clubs, there's always some sort of problem with the goal. They're trying to find some sort of loophole with it. I was convinced they were going to disallow. When they started showing that Wood's arm, they were zooming in on Wood's arm, I was thinking, oh yeah, they're going to say it's flicked his elbow, handball, offside, whatever. They were trying to find something to disallow it. So luckily they didn't. But yeah, it was a nice free kick. Lloris did get wrong-footed, but it was a good move to sort of distract him by big DB and Wood.
It feels like that at times, though, doesn't it? It feels like they're looking for some way to rule the goals out as opposed to just doing their job properly.
Well, that's the thing. VAR, when we were sold as fans on VAR coming in, it was supposed to be for the howler, for the shocking decision that the referee, for whatever reason, on the linesman hasn't seen. But it's virtually re-reffing every game now. And it's all down on judgment. And a lot of the decisions are judgment calls and are not black and white. So when you're using it for every single decision like that, toenail offside or zooming into his elbow, next thing we know, we're going to have hot spot like in the cricket, and they're going to say, oh, if it hot spotted off his elbow, and if it's hot spotted off his elbow, it's a handball. I mean, where do you go? Where do you draw the line? Which is why VAR for me is a joke, and it should be just goal line technology. And maybe you use it if someone elbows or kicks someone off the ball, something like that. But besides that, play on.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's not get too down the rabbit hole on that one because we could just spend the whole 40-odd minutes just talking about bloody VAR, couldn't we? I mean, like, you know, we said it before, the technology is there. It's just the people who are behind it. That's the problem, I think. All right. So that was 1-0 up. Didn't really deserve it. I thought it was kind of against the run of play. And what are we going to do? Fall asleep. Spurs go right up the other end, get a corner. Son takes it. It's not a great corner. Comes back out. He gets another shot at it. And he whips it in to Davies, who nuts it right past Dubravka. Straight away, right off the goal. Unbelievable. And we said this before on this podcast that there's a game a few weeks ago where I think I remember saying it made a change that it wasn't us doing that. Like it was a made a change to us actually getting a goal straight after conceding. This time it was the more typical Newcastle approach where we score a goal, then look absolutely like we've just shot our pants and concede straight away. Dimi, you're always really at your most vulnerable once you score a goal, especially if you're Newcastle United. We should have done better with that one, shouldn't we? I mean,
yeah,
we should have done better.
The first ball was where we should have cleared it. I think the corner wasn't great. We had a couple of goes at clearing it. I think Burn had a go, Wood had a go at clearing the ball. We didn't. And when you give a player of Son's quality another chance to whip it in, and he put in a superb ball, once that cross came in, we couldn't really probably defend it any better than we did. It was one of those balls that all it needed was a touch. It was a goal. It was really the fact that we conceded the corner number one. I think Son ran basically half the pitch to get the corner for starters when Manquillo just got back and denied him. So that was the first problem, and why there was so much space when we're one goal up. And the second problem was the initial corner should have been dealt with, and we didn't deal with it, didn't push out, and Son punished us.
I think give a bit of respect to Son as well. You know, I think he probably saw that goal that we just scored as his fault, and because he gave away the free kick in the first place, and then he took it upon himself to kind of win the ball, you know, straight from the restart and make something out of it. So fair play to Son. He's a great player, he really is. And Mark, Davies, he actually gets in between Big Joe and Matty Target. They're the ones who are actually defending that central position in the goal. I noticed this all the way through the game. Target was in the middle of the defense time and time again when the ball was coming into us. I don't know what the hell was going on there. What was going on at the back there? What the hell is Target doing? What's Joe doing there? Where's all our defenses gone?
So when I actually rewatched the short highlights back, and what I did notice, and a lot of people were criticizing Dan Burn, and he did have a sloppy game, but he was literally trying to man mark Kane for the entire time. And I think Kane realized that early on and was actually dragging Dan Burn out of position. And so then it was leaving gaps for other people, and it was leaving the rest of the team to kind of try and solidify that defense, where they were missing that leadership from Dan Burn at the back line, just playing his position. And I think that was what happened there. It was like, you know, Big Joe's kind of dropped back. He's trying to sort of mark space. Whether or not they were doing like sort of zonal marking or something, who knows? But yeah, there was look, I mean, the goal itself, I can't fault really, because I mean, they did get in the way. They were sort of trying to mark the man. It was a brilliant ball in, fantastic header, great run onto the near post. But, you know, it was that lead up play where they just couldn't clear the ball, and they gave them that second chance to whip it in. So, you know, the goal, yes, not great to concede. Great goal though. I'm not going to take anything away from the ball in, and the actual finish itself was pretty good, but the lead up play itself was just absolutely diabolical.
Now, Eddie Howe, has just occurred to me, Eddie Howe has been trying to get us to play out the back rather than just hoof it long ball as we have done for God knows how long. I wonder how much, because this isn't the first time that we've been sloppy trying to get rid of the ball out of defense. I mean, it seems to happen more and more often, actually, when you think about it. How much of that do you think is down to trying to get the players to play out of defense meaningfully rather than just howking the ball, you know, all the way over halfway line and then resetting? Is that playing into some of these mistakes that we are making at the back and conceding goals when we could just as easily clear the ball and go on with it? Dimi, maybe?
There's a time and place, I think, for everything. I mean, everyone wants to play like Barcelona and back in the day and tiki-taka at the back with the goalkeeper and everyone. Everyone loves to do that, but when there's three blokes in your face and there's no angle for a pass, just hoof it. We've got 6'4" wood, hoof it. So I think it's decision making which is costing us, and it's again going to show probably the quality of players that we have at the back, especially with no Trippier. We're not talking world class players. We're playing great. We got 9 games unbeaten, but these guys are prone to mistakes and they are prone to poor decision making. If they weren't prone to these mistakes, they'd be playing at better clubs. Let's be honest. I mean, player like Schar, he's great on the ball, but he's prone to a gaff, and we saw that multiple times today. So we have to take, I think, the good with the bad. And I think when the style is okay, when you've got better players performing that way, and I think decision making is what's costing us, unfortunately, at crucial moments.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's a common trait for Newcastle. Anyway, so that's 43 minutes, 1-1. Just when you thought it was going to go our way, it goes the other way. And that was the goals for the first half. But just before the half time, there was actually a bit of argy-bargy between, it's 3 people actually. It was ASM, Bentacore, and that was initially. And then it was Big Joe coming across to help out his mate. And then everybody just piles in. It's like one of those bloody pile-ins. That always happens. Best part of the game, really. So I mean, Joe gave Bentancur a massive like Superman shove. Bentancur goes flying, woo. Everyone's kicking off. All the handbags are out. Referees blowing up all over the place, and eventually it's ASM, Big Joe, and Bentancur who all get a yellow card. I just wanted to point out that, and I might be making more of this than it was, but if you watch the replay, Bentancur motions his head into ASM, and I think that is what kicked off with Big Joe. He thought like, "Hello, what's going on here? I'm going to help out ASM here." Do you think that was intentional, kind of a Pardew sort of shitty headbutt on ASM there, Dimi? And Mark, after that, what do you reckon about Joe's reaction? Should he have just been a little bit more careful there? Because we don't want to get yellow cards, let's be honest.
100%, I believe it was deliberate. I think Maxi, if he was a bit smarter, would have fallen down. If Maxi falls down, holds his face, I reckon Bentancur could be in trouble. And Big Joe, I love that what Big Joe did, but definitely the headbutt, Maxi could have made more of it. There was definitely movement towards his head, and it was typical mischievous Uruguayan behaviour by Rodrigo Bentancur. They love the dark arts of Uruguayans, and he definitely was getting around him.
If that was Suarez, he would have been rolling around over and over and over and over and over
They
again.
love that, but that's what they do. That's what they do.
Yeah.
They try to get in your heads, and they try to do things below the belt, and you got to play with them.
Never forgive him for that handball on the line against the African team, and they didn't go and score the penalty. Absolute bastard. Mark, what do you think about that particular moment? I don't subscribe to the whole idea of dropping on your arse and rolling around and trying to get people sent off. But what did you think about that? If you have any opinions at all?
I don't want to see our players like trying to get players sent off. And there was definite times where Harry Kane was trying to get one of the Newcastle players sent off in the game. And it was just, nobody wants to see that. It's not sporting. It's not really the integrity of the game. And, let's just get out there. I mean, we got beat fair and square. I'm not going to sit here and say, I want to dive so we can get someone sent off to win the game. If we're not good enough, we're not good enough. But, realistically, he shouldn't be doing that. It should be punished. Big Joe's gone in to sort of protect one of his teammates, and I think Big Joe kind of sees himself and is this sort of big enforcer in midfield now. They're sort of like going in and putting himself about and getting in people's faces, and he's always arguing with the refs and the other players. This is not the first time this season that since he's rediscovered his new role in midfield, that he's kind of taken it upon himself to start a bit of argy-bargy with another player. There's a few games this season where he's been sort of borderline, where he could have possibly seen more than just a yellow card. But he needs to be a bit smarter at times. I think it's like, look, don't get yourself into trouble. There's one thing standing up for your teammates, and there's another sort of crossing that line and putting your team at risk for going a man down as well.
Oh yeah, if you had got sent off, this would have been an embarrassing result, wouldn't it? I mean, as it was, he stayed on the pitch, and we lost by 5. Brilliant. Right. So we'll get through the halftime. Still got 11 men, thank God. I mean, actually, Joe was being pretty rough throughout this entire game. Like, I think he's really taken on board that whole midfield destroyer title. He was. In fact, actually, if we just move on to the second half, it wasn't Joe. Actually, I thought it was Joe, wasn't it? It was Burn. He goes absolutely flying in on Kane in about I think it was like the 46th minute or something. He just comes absolutely weltering in from the side, cleans out Kane, and gives away a free kick and gets yellow. And I mean, really, that was just kind of continuing from the end of the first half into the second half, just continuing as we were meant to go on. It was I don't know if I think Kane made a bit much out of it. And like you were saying before, Mark, there was an amount of Kane trying to get people carded, and there was one clear incident where he actually tried to get someone sent off. But anyway, not long after that, 48 minutes, 2-1. So 1-0 up, 2-1 down, 48 minutes in the second half. Schar gives away, just an absolutely god-awful ball. It's from our right, and he sort of crosses it. I think he was trying to switch play, but it was such a lazy cross. It doesn't really get past the first Spurs player. It just goes straight to his feet. He's like, oh, thank you very much. And the ball finds its way to Kane. He has all the time in the world to cross to Son. I think it was meant for Son. he doesn't quite get to it, but it ends up at the far post to a ducking head of Doherty, and he heads it home. And so, first of all, that was really shit from Schar. I mean, God knows what he was. If you're going to do some sort of switch of play like that, you've got to make sure it actually bloody comes off, because you're gonna basically sell it. We were all forward. We were all set to go forward. There was hardly anybody behind us at this stage, and he gives the ball away. So we have to then all kind of run back and try and defend, which is not what you want. And Manculo, half asleep, didn't even know the guy was there. Just dreaming of his dinner. So, I don't know, might have beans with my potatoes. And there's this guy here who's just running on behind him, doesn't know he's there. And it's a fairly straightforward header at the end. Conte finally remembers how to smile. So, that was nice. Dimi, thoughts on that one then, Mark?
Yeah, poor goal. I mean, I was taught playing football as a youngster, you never go across goal. So what he did was absolutely gifted to Spurs, and their only danger in the first half was their front three. The rest of the team looked trash, to be honest. And giving them that space and time, and then Mankier on the box just completely fall asleep, and Doherty scored. It was just an absolute shambolic effort. Seems like Doherty always scores against us. Even when he was at Wolves, I'm pretty sure he scored a last-minute equaliser or a last-minute goal against us at St James's one time. He always seems to pop up for a goal, but poor defending and poor way to start the half.
Absolutely. Everyone scores against us, mate. That's not much of a... It's like,
well, he's a right back. He's a left back, though. Left back shouldn't score against
I know, but going home and saying, hey, guess what? I scored against Newcastle. I'll be like, and? It's like, and? You and everybody else. Mark, it started with Schar. What else could we have done better?
I'm not sure Schar could have picked out the Spurs player any better if he was on his own team. It was just... There was no Newcastle player within 20 yards of the Spurs player that got the ball. And it's just it wasn't like, it was just a misplaced pass. He literally picked it out inch perfect without a Newcastle player to be seen. And it's just that's and as Dimi said, that's what a lot of our players have in their basket at the moment still. It's like we've played really well and we've put all the effort in, but holy crap, can they do a stuff up now and again? And they do a proper stuff up. And it always seems to result in a goal. I think, as you said, as soon as Schar gave that ball away, Spurs are on the break. We've pushed forward. We're all out of position. And we just couldn't get back into any kind of organisation. And I think that was pretty much the story of the second half, to be honest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they completely overrun us in the second half. Did our heads drop?
Yes.
But I was going to say when that first goal went in, not necessarily the bloody second, and not even the third or fourth or the bloody fifth. Did our heads drop when that first one went in?
I think we looked, for the first time in a long time, we looked like we gave up really quickly. We're just it's not our day today. And the sloppy passing, the fact that nobody was really putting themselves about when St. Maxi was bundled off the ball because he had the touch of an elephant and never really put up a fight. It's it's stuff that do they think they've done enough? Do they think they've got us out of trouble? And it's just we don't need to put that effort in anymore. Are players feeling like, well, look, we've done enough, but we're clearly not going to be here next season, so why should we bother now? Who knows? I don't know. I think next week's going to be a telltale sign, because I don't think we can drop our heads like that again. And it's something that we haven't seen under Howe either, which has really surprised me, that this is the game that and maybe it's just a culmination of 4 away games. Maybe they got a bit too party hardy over in Dubai. It wasn't just a tour over to Saudi and meet the sponsors and what have you. It was literally they were going out on the lash and having a bit of a party time, and maybe that's caught up to them as well. It wasn't just a training thing this time.
Has there been any stories of that sort? I haven't seen any myself. But
I think there was some the usual Instagram things where people were out and about and meeting people and going off and sort of doing their celebrity catch-ups and stuff, but nothing untoward. But it was obviously that they were a little bit more, sitting by the pool and enjoying themselves a little bit more than what they potentially were in Saudi.
Yeah. All right. Fair. Well, I do wonder if a lot of those guys are, and Dimi, maybe you can say something here, if they think that we're already safe. I know Eddie Howe is of the opinion that we're not, and he keeps saying it in public. But how many of those players do you think, or do you think that was safe?
I reckon probably the majority of them. I think the advantage we're going to have in the next little run before the end of the season, we've got players like Bruno who are world-class, demanding standards to be kept to keep us going. Otherwise, I think you got your likes of John Joe in there, and even Lascelles when he was playing, and it's just we just don't have that winning culture in the club, and we go on a bit of a run, but we don't have that killer instinct to keep pushing, which is why I think Bruno is going to be crucial coming up in the next few games. I just think we're probably realistically safe. Let's be honest, but one more win would probably get us safe. But it's a dangerous game that we're playing if we're going to go into games thinking, oh, we're 1-0 down or we're 2-1 down. Let's give up now. Who cares?
Yeah, there's a GT Nut 85 sent a question through exactly on this topic. It's like, are we still in a relegation battle, and who's your 3 to go down? Personally, yes, I think we are. I agree with Howe. I mean, it's still too tight down the bottom. We're mathematically not even close to being safe at the moment. Yes, I think another couple of points. I think maybe 4 points, and I think we're probably going to be safe because I just can't see the teams below us picking it up. But realistically, I think we still need to keep focused, and we still need to pick up some points along the way. My 3 to go down, probably Watford, Norwich, and I'm going to say potentially Leeds. I think Leeds will probably slip down. I think they've got like such hit and miss form. But yeah, that's my 3 to go down.
Oh, well, we might as well look at this, all 3 of us, this question. So are we still in a relegation battle, and who are your 3 to go down, Dimi?
I think we're not in a relegation battle. I'm going to be a bit different to Mark. I think 31 points probably has us safe at the moment. The bottom 3 are absolutely terrible. I can't see anybody getting on a run in the last 8 or 9 games. So technically speaking, we may still be around that relegation area, but realistically, I don't think we're a relegation battle. And the 3 to go down, I think it'll be Norwich, definitely. They're done. Watford, done. And I'm going to say Burnley's going to recover because they'll beat Everton in a couple of nights, and Everton's going to go down.
Oh, lovely. Well, for me, I actually think, realistically speaking, that we aren't as well in a relegation battle. I think 31 is probably enough given how bad everyone else is. But there's absolutely no way you can play the rest of these fixtures this season with that mentality at all. You have to believe that you aren't safe. Otherwise, you'll have performances like this till the end of the season. And then before you know it, you got minus 1,000 GD and you're in the bottom 3 and you're thinking, how the hell did that happen? You know, we were 9 points clear at one point. What happened here? So I think for the psychological side of it, you have to maintain that you are in a relegation battle. You definitely don't want to be relying on other people's performances. You've got to make sure that you do your own thing first. Now, we've done a hell of a thing. We went on that run. We've dragged ourselves really from the pits of nowhere to relative safety, and that was incredible. There's always one team that does it. It was us this year, thank Christ. There's no reason to think that another team couldn't do that still at the bottom, and you definitely don't want to be sitting on your laurels. So I think technically probably not, but I think for the sanity of everyone and for the mental aspect of the game, I think we need to pretend that we are and believe that we are in order to get a few more points. And we'll come to the remaining fixtures soon. There are some games still left that we should definitely be getting some points out of. And if we do, we'll look a lot better. And as I've said 1,000 times now, all we've got to do is not finish in the bottom 3 this season. This season is an absolute write-off from start to just about halfway through. It was an absolute disaster. You know, we've just got to get through the season, and then we can really, really start to look at summer and the rebuild and next season with some confidence and some excitement. Even, you know, it'll be amazing to see what we do next season if we can get some names in. As for my 3, I'm going to say the same as Dimi. I mean, Everton got a good team. Leeds, I can well see going down there. You know, when we went down, everyone enjoyed it. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing what that looks like on the other side of the fence. Like, you know, if it was a Villa or an Everton going down, I would I would just enjoy that with guts. So, so nothing against Everton. I mean, if you saw my review of the defeat against Everton, that was pretty kind about how they were. Well, the fans especially were brilliant. But just for the lols, let's see Everton and let's see how the rest of the season goes. Because they're in terrible form, truth be told. Thanks for that question there, GT, not 85. So where was that? That was 2-1, 48 minutes. And funny enough, just like one of the previous goals, right from the restart, we hoof it straight from the middle, right down the middle, straight to Chris Wood. He does a brilliant touch off his chest, bounces up, takes another little touch to control it at his foot, and then lashes away with his right foot. But unfortunately, it's just, I don't know, maybe he's a meter or so wide of the goal. And that would have been a brilliant reply to going down 2-1. Unfortunately, though, 54 minutes, it's 3-1. Kane releases Goody down the wing from deep. So there was another instance where Kane is sitting deep and he releases that beautiful ball down the wing. Lovely flight on it. And that guy's name squares it to Son, who's found himself in loads of space. His first touch is just sensational. I mean, Howe would like to have a player like Son on our team. He's magical when he's on form like this. One touch, controls it, another touch, back in the net. And yeah, Dimi, I mean, this Son bloke, he's all right, isn't he? I reckon he could have a bit of a future in this game,
Oh, world class. He is absolutely world class. And he's dynamic, he's quality in front of goal, seems to always, again, who cares who scores against us, but seems to always score against us as well. Yeah, he's quality. But again, we'll completely open up down our left-hand side. Target was caught up the field. Like Mark said earlier, Burn got dragged out of position. And Bob's your uncle. Kulusevski makes the run. Son has space. 3-1.
What could we have done better, Mark? Apart from not concede the goal, obviously.
It's one of those things. I think it's good movement off the ball by Spurs. Our defenders were all over the shop. I don't think we've got that reorganizational skill. If Dan Burn's not there, I think he's been great since he's been here for doing that and keeping us rigid at the back. Lascelles normally does that for us, and I know Lascelles isn't necessarily the greatest player skill-wise in the world, but he does definitely sort of get more out of the players around him and keeps everyone more disciplined. At least he has done in the past. This season he definitely hasn't been, and Dimi's kind of pleased he's out of the starting lineup. But yeah, I don't see anything that we could have done differently, really. I mean, other than just be better. I think it was great play by Spurs, and Son, as you said, he's just absolutely world class. Nice. And when he's on form, not only he's got the running of like Miggy. He just runs all day, but he's got the skill to back it up as well. And he's like, his first touch is just sublime and knows exactly where to stick it, makes the right run. Yeah. What more do you want?
Well, I wouldn't mind a save. That would have been quite nice.
Wouldn't mind him on our team.
Dimi, here's a question for you. If Lascelles was in this defense, would it have been any better result-wise?
Absolutely not. So, look, all jokes aside, absolutely not. I'll tell you why. Because we were stupidly, in my opinion, pushing up high up the field and getting caught in behind. And Lascelles is not quick. So if BDB and Schar are getting pulled out of position and can't track back, there's no way Lascelles is going to track back on Kulusevski, Son, or Kane. So, and not to mention that Lascelles can't pass the ball. So, not to heap on our current captain, even though he's not playing, but no, if he was playing, it would have been probably worse.
I'm going to pose a question to you guys that I was thinking about when I was watching this. Do you think, and this is not me having a go, this is me pointing out things that maybe have been done incorrectly or wrong decisions by Eddie Howe. I think he's excelled with what he's had available. He's done a great job. We all know that. But do you think he got this badly wrong by actually going at Spurs and leaving us so vulnerable on the counter-attack?
Well, look, on the 50th minute, he brings on Murphy and Bruno and takes off Joe and Manquillo. I think I think in the end, the friggin' Shelby's in defence. So just even by the mental thought of that lineup, yes, it was a bad thing to do. We're already 3-1 down. And you hear a lot of times, people say, he's being negative, he's bringing on a defender, he's going for the defeat. He doesn't want to. But there's a certain logic to stopping a 5-1, and it's to do with confidence going into the next game. It's obviously to do with your GD and therefore your league position. There's reasons why you do it. And in this game, Howe was on the other side of that. I think Howe was just determined to put on an attacking show. I think the owners want to see attacking football. There's that narrative that all Newcastle fans want to see attacking football. Me personally, I want to see Newcastle win. Yeah, I if you did it, passing side to side for 89 minutes and then you kick it forward and score off someone's arse, I'm going to be happy. Let me tell you, I'm happy. I couldn't give a shit if it's attacking football all the time, because when you attack and you leave space like you did in this game, you get your pants pulled down. So who the frig wants to say that? So my answer to that was yes. I think he overdid the attacking intent of this game, especially with those subs I just mentioned. And I think it could have. I mean, to be fair, in the first half we were fairly tight, and then it just goes to shit. And a lot of that's to do with how good Spurs were. Obviously, I'm not going to say it wasn't, because it was. The Spurs were brilliant, especially on the counter. But a large part of that was also down to Eddie Howe. So yes, my answer is yes. I forgot the question. Dimi?
I don't think it was the attacking intent that hurt us. I think he wanted to match up the Spurs formation with their wing backs that were really causing us trouble, which is why he brought Murphy on and Bruno, and they moved to a 3 at the back. But I think it's, again, our players' mentality that they're just not good enough. I mean, call it what it is. They're not good enough. Whatever he says, he may have a perfect idea of, let's do it this way. I think this way is going to work. But if they don't execute, which they're not good enough to execute at times, and they leave space against quality teams, you're going to get punished. So that's what happened today. I think we were naive, probably. That was more, I think, on the players on the pitch, a bit naive to chase that goal early at 3-1. I mean, even if you're 3-1 down with 10 minutes to go, maybe have a go then. But to push so far forward as we did when Bruno and Jacob Murphy came on, it just left us vulnerable. And luckily for us, Spurs couldn't give a shit at the end of the game, because they were just passing at the back.
Yeah. Here's a point from our old mate Dex here, friend of the pod. Howe's Achilles heel is managing tactics in game. He seems lost when plan A doesn't work. Any truth to
that? Partially. I'd like to see him and what he can do if he gets a better squad. It's not like when he was at Bournemouth, he had like a huge amount of players at his disposal off the bench to make those changes. He doesn't here. I mean, he's struggling to figure out how to get us to score goals at the moment, because St. Maximin's hit and miss. Wood's just isolated at times. Fraser's kind of seems to have dropped back from the form that he was showing in our good run. And, we're bringing, apart from Bruno, what other options have we got? He doesn't seem to want to play Gale. Wilson's out injured. We just don't have the options at the moment to make those sort of changes and sort of tactical switches. So I do think he struggles, but at the same time, I don't think he's got a lot at his disposal to actually do anything with.
Although, to be fair, he is working with a better squad than he had at Bournemouth. So just looking at the squads just as they are, he's got better players in front of him. Dimi, do you want to have a quick word on that one?
I think it's a bit of a myth. The old managers doesn't have a plan B or C or D. Most managers are going to tell you plan B is doing plan A better. So there's slight tweaks that most managers will have up their sleeve, but we don't have the luxury of bringing on Lucas Moura or Bergwijn or Lukaku the other week against Chelsea. We don't have the luxury of bringing on these players. We're bringing on, all due respect, Jacob Murphy's, Sean Longstaff's, Dwight Gale when he gets a game. We don't have the quality coming off the bench. So there's only so much you can change to, I think, as manager of Newcastle at the moment.
Fair enough. All right, let's crack on, because we're only up to goal 3. It's still another 2 to go, Christ's sake. So 56. So that was on 54 minutes. 56 minutes. Big Joe escapes a second yellow card. This is the one that we mentioned earlier, Mark, where Kane's doing his best shithousery to get Joe sent off. Like, I mean, it wasn't even subtle. He's going to the referee's going, shaking his head, head in his hands. Can't believe it. Can't believe the injustice of Big Joe not getting a second yellow card. He doesn't get one, thank God. I'll be honest with you, though. I don't know if you saw it or not, Mark, but honestly, Joe was standing there like going, oh, fuck. I think I ballsed up here. He's like, oh, shit, ref, what are you doing? What are you going to do here? And he's obviously seeing Kane going off it as well. But you just don't want to see that, do you, Mark?
You don't, and I think it's something that has gone into very much into Kane's game, and I think he's always been that sort of little shithousery moments where he's tried to get players sent off, and he's always wants everything run his way. And obviously, he's England's golden boy, so he does get a lot of the rub from the ref as well. Everything always seems to go his way, but it's like he's good enough. He doesn't need to be going on like that. I mean, they're winning comfortably. They're on top. They're not going to lose the game. Why do you need to do that? It's just it's pretty bad sportsmanship if nothing else. But just shows that there's wanting to win and there's wanting to get like people sent off for no real reason. I just don't like that.
Yeah, he's definitely got one of those dirty tackles in him as well, hasn't he? And he always seems to get away with them as well.
Yeah.
Like always.
To be fair, Shearer did as well, so I can't say anything.
No. That was completely different. No, I mean, Christ, that elbow on Dan Burn the other week was very Shearer-esque, I thought.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned it in the review as well. Anyway, so that was 58 minutes. We've made the subs that we just mentioned before there, Murphy and Bruno on. So we've gone 3 at the back by all accounts. To be fair, kept trying to get in the game though. So I said before they had their heads dropped. And when I think about it, they were still trying to make something happen, even at 3-1 down. So perhaps the heads hadn't completely gone. Of course, that wasn't until about 63 minutes when it's 4-1. And so Goody somehow clips in across to Royale, and it's on the wing, it's on our right, and he somehow gets across away, like dinks it right in the middle, and it's Royale who manages to stretch out a foot to the ball, and it kind of just sort of gently rolls in to the corner of the net, and Dubravka's kind of stranded and can't do anything about it. It's one of those really painful goals that I think this is probably like the worst goal we conceded this game, considering there's 5 of them, there's some competition. But this particular goal, the cross should never went in the first place. There was 2 or 3 people standing off him, should have got tighter. And it was Target again in the middle, and he gets muscled off the ball, basically couldn't do anything about it. Dimi, what could we have done better there, aside from, stopping the ball going in the net again?
Everything, to be honest. Target should be goal side, number 1.
Yep.
Don't let the cross come in, number 2. And basically, they're the two main points. I mean, at that point, Spurs were just playing with us. They were toying with us, and you could tell that everyone on the pitch for Spurs thought, I'm good for a goal here. When you got the 2 fullbacks scoring goals, and Kane hadn't scored at that point, he didn't score the whole game, and everyone wanted to get in on the action. So it was, shambolic again. Oh,
it was open season, wasn't it? It was just like, get anywhere near the goal and you're probably going to score a goal. Actually, in the lead up to that as well, Jacob Murphy was super weak. Didn't put a challenge in, kind of just, he's fresh on as well, so he should have some strength in his legs. Mark, 4-1. You think, all right, that's probably game done. Cheers, Spurs. You can have your points, go away. It's not, obviously, they've still got another goal in them, but what did you make of that one, that 4-1?
Yeah, it's one of those goals where, 9 times out of 10, it probably goes straight to the keeper or hits the post and bounces back or something like that. It's one of those, everything was going Spurs' way at that point. And, there's not much you can do about it when you defend the build-up play that badly. Yeah,
Dubravka was going in a completely different direction. Nothing you could do about it, was there? All right, so amazingly, we have a 20-minute stretch where we don't concede a goal. So that was basically 3 goals in the space of 15 minutes or something. Absolute destruction at the hands of Spurs. They were just on fire. 83 minutes comes along, 5-1. Brilliant. As if we didn't already know we'd lost this game. It's ASM. He's not for the first time since, Christmas. He gets just shoved off the ball. It just falls flat on his face. And he was doing it quite a lot this game. He does it quite a lot in every game. He's always going down on his arse. He's always trying to win something from the referee. He doesn't play to the whistle. He plays for the whistle, and that really pisses me off. Like, he gets in situations where if he just keeps on his feet and does something, he'll probably get somewhere and make something more of the player. But anyway, on this one, he goes down looking for something, gets nothing. Again, it's just attack. Everyone's flooding forward. Mora feeds the substitute Bergwijn. Damn it, almost. He just feeds him right through the middle. Like, I think he does like a dink. He does a nutmeg through. Who was it? Dan Burn, maybe? I'm not sure. It goes through under someone's legs anyway. And Mora just runs onto it. He's 1-on-1 with Dubravka, and he slots it underneath Dubravka despairingly. Really, I mean, Dubravka made a bit of an effort on that one. Mark, can you pick the bones out of that turd? I mean, should Dubravka, to start with, done better with that shot?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's easy when you're watching it on replays, but at full speed and the keeper's going down, trying to do his best to save it. You see it all the time, and you think, like, how on earth, like, he nutmegged the keeper from there? Why doesn't the keeper sort of like get to it, or why doesn't the keeper get down in time? It's like when the ball's flying past you, it's like, what more can you do? The big thing for me, it shouldn't have got to that again. It's like, we're in possession of the ball, and time after time we just lose it in attacking positions when everyone's pushing forward, and then we get caught on the counter-attack, and ASM cannot miscontrol the ball and then put up such little defense to try and retain the ball and keep his player, the other opposition player, from getting it. He just falls over and gives up. And then there's time after time where he was tracking back and he was just sauntering back and things like that. And you're thinking, that's not going to win you any friends in the fans. If we're losing games, it's fine. If we're winning games, it's fine if he's scoring goals. But he's got to do better at holding that ball in that position. And right now he's not, and I think it's like it all stemmed from the fact that we are in a positive move. We're moving forward in the pitch, and it all breaks down, and then suddenly everyone's like sort of pushing forward to try and get some support up, and then all of a sudden they're legging it back the other way, all caught out of position and struggling to pick it back up again.
It comes back to what we said before, doesn't it? If you commit all of your players forward and one little mistake occurs or one bad bit of play happens from one of your players, you're stuffed because you've left nobody behind you pretty much. Dimi, I still kind of wonder if Dubravka, I mean, he's watching play develop in front of him, and he doesn't really come out to meet that ball as it gets megged through to who was it? Mora. So do you think at all? Mogwai, whatever. Do you think Dubravka could have come out and smothered that ball a bit more and maybe prevented the embarrassing 5? It's just me.
Hard to say. He was fresh legs as well coming off the bench, so he's sharp. He wants to make an impact. Dubravka's probably thinking, here we go again, 1-on-1. What am I supposed to do here? It's hard to say. I think on that goal, Spurs really targeted for me Dan Burn. They really tried to pull him out of position, and he gets a little bit hungry. He does chase the ball and chase his man. And again, in this moment, he got hungry and he moved out of position, and the ball was dinked in behind him where Bergwijn scored. So one thing to watch, I think, going forward is attackers trying to pull BDB out of position. I think it's happening a lot more. Happened against Everton as well.
Everton, yeah, exactly.
So something to watch going forward, I think. But no, I can't play Dubravka there. He's got all the time in the world to pick a spot, and any decent striker would finish that chance.
Yeah, fair point. All right, so thank God, 54 minutes. We've finally got to the end of all 6 goals in this friggin' awful game. 5-1, terrible result. That trip to Dubai didn't quite have the same effect as that one that we had to Saudi, did it? This is kind of like this is kind of what I was worried about when we did the Saudi one, not this one. So some stats. I should have a slide for this, but I don't. There was 9 shots to 4 in the second half. This is to Spurs. 4 on target, obviously, they scored 4. And possession was actually surprisingly 57% to 43%. So for all the pissing and whinging about moving too far up, we actually did have a bit of the ball in the second half. 1 on signs, I think, were there in the first half. Spurs just couldn't hit the barn door, really. Very wasteful with the chances. And then once we scored, went to sleep. And then the second half got absolutely murdered. That's my 10-second summary of that god-awful result. Now, Dimi, you and I, we did the preview for the Chelsea game, and it touches a bit on what we've just been saying. And we all kind of expected that we were going to get murdered by Chelsea. Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say we all thought we were going to lose Chelsea, and we did. But what we said was that we had to make sure that we didn't get humiliated. We wanted to make sure that if we were going to lose, you go down fighting, you keep it tight, you lose by a goal or two, especially against a brilliant team like Chelsea. And as it was, we got beat by a world-class finish from Havertz, who probably shouldn't have been on the pitch, but that's another story. And, we come out of that thinking, you know what, that wasn't bad. Yeah, we lost, but that was 1-0. We did all right. We held our own. This result against Spurs is exactly what I was worried about against Chelsea. We come out on the back of this game with an absolute spanking. And I'm just wondering, what do you think this is going to do to our confidence, if anything, really, going forward into the remaining games? Obviously, we didn't expect to win against Spurs. I think that's fair to say. But I don't think we expected to get absolutely bummed either. So what do you think that'll do to our confidence? How do you think we're going to handle that, particularly in the next game?
I think it could shake us. I think definitely if we concede early in any of the next 3 home games, there could be a little bit of nervousness at the back that we haven't seen probably for 3 or 4 months. I think the commentators were saying yesterday we hadn't conceded more than 1 goal in a game since the Liverpool or the Manchester City game. And we conceded obviously 4 goals in 20 minutes, whatever it was. So it was definitely unlike us for us to completely collapse and be wide open at the back. So we're hoping it's obviously a one-off. I think Spurs as well, they're the perfect team to pick off a shabby, loose defence, which we were for 20, 25 minutes. I mean, even in the first half, I don't think we were wide open. We're quite deep. Spurs didn't have too many chances on Dubravka's goal. I think it's definitely going to be something to watch in this Wolves game. And I think luckily for us, well, I'll probably speak to you soon now. Wolves probably score 5 as well. But luckily for us, Wolves don't really open up like that, and they don't score many goals. They're a lot more pragmatic and defensively solid team. So I think if we're going to concede 2 or 3 goals against Wolves as well, then I think we could be alarm bells could be ringing.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at the table, because if you look at this table here, Newcastle, as a result of this shocking defeat, well, it wasn't that shocking. We're moved down 1 spot to 15th now on 31 points. I'll just read out from the bottom here for everyone who's listening. So it's Norwich at the bottom on 18, Burnley on 21, Watford on 22, and then it's Everton just above the relegation zone on 25. Still got 2 games to play over us. And then it's Leeds with 30 points, and then Sus on 31. And then all the way at the very top there in 8th place, I mean, Wolves are having a hell of a season. 49 points. God, imagine having 49 points. Is Wolves. So, yeah, I don't think you can really just assume that Wolves is going to be an easy game either, because they're having, like I say, a brilliant season. This is depressing. All right, let's quickly do man the matches. Christ, I'll go last because I've got any idea. Mark, why don't you go first?
Yeah, it's a struggle. It is a real struggle. I mean, Schar scored a great free kick and then ballsed up a pass that led to a goal. So, who do you give it to? I really do struggle. I'm struggling to find a man of the match at all who's worth it.
Right. I'll come back to you in a minute. Dimi?
Bruno for me. When he came on off the bench, I think he tried to progress the ball. He looked sharp, busy. I think Bruno for me was an absolute standout compared to the rest of the dross that we performed.
So 30 minute cameo from Bruno was man of the match material, was it? That
shows how shit we were.
That's pretty fair, yeah.
Yeah, utter shit everyone else was. I was going to say Schar. I mean, he scores the goal, gets us going, but he was pretty shaky at the back. That god-awful crossfield pass, man, Jesus. And have you thought of anyone yet, Mark? Because I'm still struggling.
No, I'm struggling.
Right.
I'm actually tempted to go with Dimi and just Bruno's the only one that actually showed any amount of quality in that whole game.
All right. I'm going to give it to Derek Wright. I don't know why. Just give it to Derek Wright. Seems like a nice bloke. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know who the hell you pick out of that absolute rotten carcass of a result. I've got no idea. Let's have a look at the next fixtures. And we touched on this already. So next fixture is Wolves, but then you've got Leicester at home, and then you've got Crystal Palace at home. So is that 3 games at home now? Oh, that's good.
It's 3 games in a row, yeah.
Yeah, Norwich away, and then there's Liverpool at home. Then you've got Man City away. Then you've got Arsenal at home, and then finally Burnley away. And that's still very much a prospect of that being the game that we need to win, isn't it? But if you look at those fixtures there, Dimi first. 2 fixtures for me immediately jump out. You've got the Norwich and you've got Burnley that you would think you would target as a 6-pointers. So we're on 31. You get 6. You're up to 37. And you think probably that's safe. You'd have to think, wouldn't you, this season? Where do you see the points coming from those fixtures?
Well, I said probably a bit boldly a few weeks ago we would beat last year's points total, which is looking a bit shaky now. But I think we can get, as silly as it sounds, I think we can get points off the next 4 games, and then potentially that last game against Arsenal might be a dead rubber for Arsenal if they're already secured in the top 4. And if Burnley is already relegated, those last 2 could be results as well. So I think there's definitely 6 games out of that 8 that we can get points out of.
All right. Can you put a total on what you think, or a range that you would think we should be aiming for?
Yep. I'll give us 14 points.
14?
Yep, 14. 4 wins and 2 draws.
You're high as a kite here, man. You're proper Raj. Mark, what do you reckon?
I think we've got to beat Norwich. I've said it before and I'll say it again. We cannot go to Burnley on the last game of the season. Even if they've been relegated, they've got no pressure on them. All the pressure's on us if we need a result. Just don't want that. So hopefully we can pick up some home points. Leicester's hit and miss, but realistically, maybe a point off them. I'm thinking maybe 3 off Norwich, maybe 3 off Palace. And we've got to make the most of our home games, basically. I'm thinking if we can get to 38 points, I'll be happy.
So that's basically 7. Yeah, I reckon it's probably something like that. 6. I think certainly 6, Norwich and Burnley. And I think a point from Palace. They're doing very well at the minute under Vieira. And Leicester, Maddison, just, the way he crosses the ball in, he'll just murder our defence if it's anything like today. Assuming you've got like someone like Vardy on the end of it. Wolves, I've got no confidence of beating. And, I don't think we'll get anything from from City, Liverpool or Arsenal. But still, that should be enough. I think we'll all agree that would be enough, whatever those points are, especially if it's bloody 14. Like Raj pack it down there, reckons.
12. Maybe I'll say 12. I'm 14. I'm
cheering already.
I'm cheering on my Nostradamus 4 week ago prediction of we'll beat last year's total. So, okay. 14 is maybe aggressive. Let's go with 12.
Right. But even if it's 6 or 7, do we all agree that should be enough?
That should hopefully be enough.
3 points are enough, to be honest. 3 points from here gives us 34. If you bring up that ladder again, I'm not sure if you can. So 3 points gets us to 34 points. That means Watford would have to get 13 points out of their last 8. Very unlikely. And Burnley would have to get 14 points out of their last 10. Again, virtually impossible. So, yeah, I reckon 3 points is probably enough for us.
Well, even then, we're going to have to play a shitload better than we did today to get even 3 points, I think. Fucking hell, just have to consign this one to the dustbin of history, don't we? All right, so that was the end of that. And so let's have a look at some questions just before we move on. Let's see if we've got any here. GT Nut said right at the start, I don't know if I want to revisit that horror show. Sorry about that. We just did. Richard Balfour, gutless, spineless, ring the bells. Yeah. Have to prove against Wolves, says, tuned into podcast. Richard Balfour also, he says, made Spurs look like world beaters, which were not. Men against boys kind of springs to mind, I should say. That's what Jack was saying as well. And let's see what we've got. We've done that one. Dex, Paul Now Blockers. Do you think Eddie Howe will convert Chris Wood into a box-to-box midfielder? Dex, calm down now. Calm down. And one from Lisa71. Would you keep Burn in the starting 11 against Wolves? Interesting question. I mean, he's been faltering. Well, he was responsible for the Chelsea goal. He was responsible for the Everton goal to a large extent. I mean, I'm not saying 100%. And he's been pulled all over the place today. I think we have to keep him in the middle because otherwise it's going to be someone like Lascelles. So, yes. Dimi, would you keep Burn in the starting 11 against Wolves?
Absolutely. No questions asked.
Yeah. Mark?
Yeah. I don't see we've got any other options.
Well, no, exactly right. Yeah. All right. Last one is for Dimi. Hey, Dimi, that's a very blank wall. Where's all your memorabilia? You used to live inside a bloody museum. What's going on?
I've moved house. So Bam's one of the Victory lads who goes to the games with us. He's been a bit cheeky, but yeah, no, I've moved house. So all the memorabilia in my room, I haven't been able to, or actually I should rephrase that. I haven't been allowed to move it to the new house as of yet. So that's
Told you not to get married.
That's still a work in progress. When it is, I think this room looks pretty good to get all my frames up, I reckon.
Yeah, plenty of blank canvas there. Mind you, as soon as you put all those things up, she'll probably find a way to burn the house down again.
The house still here, yeah. Luckily, yeah, we're good.
Yeah. All your stuff will just be up in flames. Yeah, that'll be a nightmare. All right, cheers, lads. So that was a 5-1 defeat. Absolute shit. We got Wolves next weekend. I don't even know when it is because we're
Friday
night.
Saturday morning here.
Yeah,
Friday night. Who the hell comes up with this shit? Oh yeah, that's right. We're doing a live on that one, aren't we? Yeah. So midweek we should be having a preview of the Wolves game with a Wolves fan, I think, and then on Saturday morning, Australia time, we're going to be doing a live commentary of that Wolves game. I think that's right. Am I right? I think that's right. So yeah, keep an eye on our socials just in case I'm completely wrong. I usually am, and it'll be good to see some people join us for that one because I think I'm doing that one. So I've got to get me John Motson jacket back on, do the old commentary. All right, boys. Thanks for your time. Thank you to everybody in the chat who joined us for this live, depressing review of a god-awful result. We have to hope we'll do better in the next game. I'm sure we will. Eddie Howe won't allow tardiness like that to go on, I'm pretty sure. If you've liked what you're seeing, please like, subscribe, follow, and all that stuff. You can find us all over the socials. A few little hints of the icons at the bottom of the screen there. And yeah, we'll see you for the next one. So thank you very much, Mark. Thank you very much, Dimi. And I was going to say how are the lads, but we've been so shit, I'll not bother. Cheers, lads.
Cheers, mate.
Bring on, Wolves.